you don't have time to waste. So I need you to put in 1,000% every single day.
About March, forget about April, forget about May, forget about June, forget about July, forget about August, forget about September. It's over. So forget about the past. Listen to me and make the rest of your life the best of your life. It's your boy E.T. I know you can do it. I believe you can do it. Now go out there, get up, get out, go get some.
Are you wasting your time or are you using your time wisely? You can replace money. You cannot get a year back. I don't care what the adversity has been. You have two choices. You can be unforgiving, bitter, angry, upset, and be a carrier of grief, or you can choose resilience. You can cope with what happened. You can upload the program of resilience and recover all and get back to the place where you were before the fall. Stop waiting for the storm to pass and ask yourself the question, what can I accomplish in the rain? What can I accomplish in the rain? Who can I become in the rain? There are people all over the world who are depending on you. So our wounds become wisdom. We have a new program. It's called resiliency. The race is not given to the strong nor the swift, but it is given to he that endureth until the end. Life doesn't get any easier. It doesn't get more forgiving. We just get stronger and we get more resilient. One thing we know is that adversity, conflict, trauma does not discriminate. We are all acquainted with pain. I don't care how many times life knocks you down, get back up and tell life, I'm supposed to be here. I belong here. Give me what's mine.
When we tackle obstacles, when we face adversity and conflict, it is only then that we find hidden reserves of courage and resilience we didn't even know we had. It's literally only when we face failure that we realize these resources are always there within us. We only need to find them to fulfill our destinies. After life has beaten you and broken you into pieces, resiliency is that gift and ability. It's the discipline to turn those pieces into a work of art.
Many of you listening to me know what it's like to lose everything. You know what it's like to hit rock bottom. You know what it's like not to be supported. You know what it's like to be lied on. You know what it's like to experience emotional, relational, and psychological trauma. And it changes you because you don't know what you are made of until you have gone through something. You already know what failure feels like. You already know what it feels like to quit, to stop, to throw in the towel, to sit on the couch, to move to a substance, to put your confidence in some man or some woman, to lay idle. But do you know what it's like to give everything that you have and push and persevere? If you're going to understand the program of resiliency, we are going to have to stop running from difficult times. Stop praying that the storm will pass over you and pray to grow through the storm. Stop going around it, go through it. What you go through, you will grow through. Some fights are not won in the first round. Flat out. And the moment that you get that and you get crystal clear and you accept the fact that there are some giants that you will not defeat in the first round. You need endurance. You need stamina to reach some goals. You're not going to hit the million with the first investment. You're not going to hit the home run always at first swing. But resiliency says, I belong here. and I deserve another shot. I want my opportunity. Give me my opportunity. It's your reaction to adversity, not adversity itself, that determines how your life story will develop. Rock bottom is the solid foundation to build the future. And you've lost everything. You have everything you need. Resiliency says, I tried and I failed. Resiliency has its own mentality. The program of resiliency says, I tried and I failed, I tried and I failed, I tried and I failed, I tried and I failed again. I'm gonna start again, and I'm not waiting till Monday. I'm gonna start right now. I tried again and again, and I succeeded.
Remove yourself from the list of people that have disappointed you, that have lied to you, that have let you down. You are number one on that list. Remove yourself. The real you is breathing down your neck, begging you to manifest. Stop lying to yourself. Stop letting you down.
You gotta kill the blame game. Stop blaming it on the person that walked out on you. Stop blaming it on the person that overlooked you. Stop blaming it on the person that undervalued you. Stop blaming it on the person that did not promote you, that did not see it, that did not believe it. Stop blaming everybody and look yourself in the mirror. It's your fault you failed. You started the year with a little motivation and a few ideas, and it all tanked before February. And the thing you gotta ask yourself is, am I gonna repeat my history, or will I blaze a new trail? Because history for many of you is insecurity. History for many of you is depression and anxiety, and that substance you can't shake, and that person you can't leave. History for many of you is, they're better than me. History for many of you is, nobody will show up if I build it. I don't have the time. I'm not good enough. It's time to get out of the way. It is because of you that you are not where you want to be. You are the issue. It's you. Your issue is you. Nobody has lied to you more than you. And so here's what I need you to do. Go find a mirror, go for a walk, go for a drive. Tell yourself, this is my year. You gotta be willing to do what 98% of the people in this world are unwilling to do. You gotta eat differently. You gotta work differently. You gotta think differently. You gotta talk differently. You gotta walk differently. If you want elevation, if you want next level, if you wanna see this thing differently this year, everything you do has to change. Your insecurity has been in the way too long. Your jealousy, your envy has been in the way too long. The fear you've been wrestling with has been in the way too long. Get out of the way! It's time to stop watching 2% of the Earth's population crush it, win, execute, finish what they start, do what they say they're gonna do. Snap out of it! You got work to do! I get it. If we pull up your history, we'll find a lot of brokenness.
It's the mentality of an eagle. I often ask myself, what differentiates those who wish for better outcomes and those who do something about it? What separates the dreaming from the progress and the wishing from the reality? Sure, life is complex. There are a lot of moving parts to understand. But I think this element is simple. Those who build things in life are willing to not only see a reality that hasn't yet materialized, but they also understand that in a world of no, they have to be the yes. They have to believe in their ability to drive towards finish lines that no one else sees. And See, meaning cannot come to fruition without that discomfort. Or as Nietzsche put it, one must still have chaos in oneself to be able to give birth to a dancing star, and that's just it. Most people see what is, most people conform, they do not create. To change something means you have to be the metaphorical eagle amongst pigeons, flying above all that, everyone, everything else. Superseding the limiting beliefs that shackle others to their one-dimensional realities. But most importantly, it means you can see. You can see what no one else can. You have line of sight to what no one else understands. See, in this world, no one walks up to you on the street, puts their arm around you and says, "Hey kid, that dream, follow that, because I can tell you're going to do big things." No one says, "Hey, that business idea, you're going to thrive next year, I know it. That relationship, it's going to happen. That level of fitness, oh, I can see it already." Nope. People see what's right in front of them. And as it pertains to you and your world, your life, people are those pigeons. And so that leaves you with a choice. Do you accept that? Do you blend in, take the scraps you're allowed to consume, the crumbs laid out in front of you, or do you step back and acknowledge unseen? So build. On the days you want to, build. On the days you don't, build. When they understand, build. And when they assume you've altogether lost your mind, build. Sure, it's not easy, but it's worth it. And when tomorrow comes, and it looks a lot different from today, when you've grown, evolved, transformed, and you look back and don't even recognize the person you once were, that won't be because you listened to the chirping of the doubters and the naysayers. It won't be because when strangers told you to give up, you packed your bags and went home. No, it will be because you rose above all that. They saw empty space and you saw a world undiscovered. They saw your head in the clouds while you built those castles.
Are you ready? You got a fuel that's pushing you. Come on, let's be honest. Can we just be honest for a second? Come on, there are too many people riding on you. You got a mother. She's been doing everything she can to put food on the table. You got to do it for her. You got a father that's counting on you. You got to do it for him. You got some siblings that are watching you right now. You got to do it for them. You got a grandmother who's been praying for you. You got a grandmother who's been looking out for you. You got a grandmother that you got to do it for her. But guess what else? You got to do it for you. You got to get fueled on the inside and say, now is my time. There is no perfect moment. Now is the only perfect moment you need. Let me say that again. Now is the only perfect moment you need. Stop waiting for later. Now is the time to say, I'm going to be successful. Don't wait for later. Say, now is the time that I'm getting in them books. Don't wait for later. Now is the time to say, I'm going to make the next step. To say, I'm ready. I'm ready. I dare you to write that. Put it somewhere in some comment. Put it somewhere and say, I'm ready. Now is the time. I'm ready to build a legacy. I'm ready to make my mark. I'm ready to do this for my family. I'm ready to do this for my mother. I'm ready to win for my father. I'm ready to make my last name bigger than my first name. I'm ready to make history. I'm ready to do something nobody's ever done before. I'm ready to speak to every mountain in my way and tell that mountain to get out my way. I'm ready to make a difference. I'm ready to do something in my community. I'm ready to be the leader in my neighborhood. I'm ready to study. I'm ready to finish these papers. I'm ready to get this diploma. I'm ready to be educated. I'm ready. I dare you right now just to say I'm ready. It's my moment. It's my time. I'm not just hyped up.
Maybe everybody doesn't love you. Maybe there are many people that don't like you. Maybe people just don't believe in what you believe in. But what do you believe in? You trusted more in doubt. You trusted more in people rejecting you. Not believing that you had a unique purpose. You had something special that just has not been awakened yet. You thought that every time someone looked down on you, you didn't have the ability to look up. You didn't have the ability to trust in yourself. You thought that people had more faith in your failures than your success. And no matter how hard you work at your craft, they will still find some fault in you. It must happen this way because this is the only way you're gonna know what you must do to get better at whatever it is that you are seeking in your life. No one said it was gonna be easy. In fact, nobody's really gonna hold your hand. But you got to have the ability to hold yourself up. You have to have enough faith within yourself to understand that no matter how far you go in your life, that it's your life. You believe in the answers that they had for you instead of answering your own question. Am I good enough? Can I be the best of myself? The time has come for you to understand that you cannot depend on the opinions of others. You cannot just trust in the opinions of others. You cannot allow other people to validate you. Because you are just who you are. Nobody is gonna be like you. Nobody can be as strong as you. Nobody can walk the walk like you. That's what makes you different. That's what makes you unique. So prove them wrong, but prove yourself to be right.
If you hang around sharks long enough, it will transform your mindset, and I promise you, you will be like a shark. You will think like a shark, and you can't go backwards, and if you stop swimming, you will die. And don't you ever forget that the rest of your life. Don't you ever stop. Be sweet, baby. Every time I left the house, my mom would say, be sweet, baby. Be sweet. My dad would say, go get it, son. Go get it. Go get it, son. Go get it. Be sweet. 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 You gotta be ready to fight and bounce back. Punch and counter punch. Jab and jab back. Let me tell you something. Life is a series of fights. The worst thing you can do is run away from your fights. In order for you to rise up, you better take your game to the next level. Your mindset needs to go to the next level. Your information needs to go to the next level. Your relationships need to go to the next level. To be a shark is about how you move.
Here we are, a new year, another opportunity, an opportunity of a lifetime. This is the year that we said, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do better. I'm gonna be stronger instead of fearful.
This is my year!
Today you have an opportunity to chart a new path. So do me a favor. Step into your new you. Step into your new year, because success is waiting for you.
And the thing you gotta ask yourself is, am I gonna repeat my history, or will I blaze a new trail?
Today, you have a chance to get up and attack your goals. Let this be the year of no regrets.
The real you is breathing down your neck, begging you to manifest. It's got to be a lifestyle change. When you shift your paradigm, when you shift your thinking, only then what you see in your head, you will hold in your hand.
Motivation has an expiration date. And when motivation dies, discipline must take its place. Because when motivation dies, you are left talking and not doing. The only way you're going to do is if discipline takes the place of your motivation.
This is your year, because you are still in it.
Get to work.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, here we are. A new year. Another opportunity. An opportunity of a lifetime.
There's 200 people or 150 people that start the class. There's 100 helmets of people that quit. Grown men whose dream it was to be a SEAL that get there, that did all this physical training and all this preparation and signed that dotted line and committed to 6 years, and they show up there and they get to that training and they ring that bell. No one knows who's going to make it through that program. The only way to know what's in the core of a human being is to rip that thing apart and see what's in there. And until you rip it apart and see what's in there, you don't know.
What does it take to not ring the bell?
Don't quit. People always ask me, what should I concentrate on? What's your advice for me going to buds? Don't quit. Don't quit. Like, train hard, don't quit. Well, if you want to be a good leader, you have to understand human nature. And the places where human nature reveals itself most clearly are times of extreme suffering and inhumanity. I had a bunch of hard-headed, very determined, thick-skulled guys that, you know, I had to get them to do what I wanted them to do. I had to get them to want to do. Trust is built on relationships. Relationships are built on trust. If you don't trust me, we don't really have a relationship. My first platoon, we were doing a training operation. We get into this tactical situation. Everyone in my platoon is focused on one area. Everyone's looking down their weapons, waiting for a threat to expose itself, which means you got 16 guys looking down their weapons, and I'm waiting for someone to make a call. I was a new guy. I'm waiting for someone above me in the chain of command to say, hey, move here, or hey, move forward, or make some kind of a decision. And as I'm waiting, no one's doing it. So I'm a new guy. I'm scared to say anything, and I know I shouldn't say anything, so I'm just waiting, and no one's giving an order. No one's giving any direction. So I wait longer. And this goes on for probably 30 seconds or a minute, which is a really long time when you're trying to take down a target. And finally, I said to myself, all right, I'm gonna see what's going on. So I actually point my weapon at the ceiling, and I take a step back, and I just look around. And I see that every single person in my platoon, including my platoon commander, including the assistant platoon commander, including the platoon leading petty officer, everyone is just focused on their weapons and no one's making a decision. And I can see this. And because I'm looking around and I'm detached from the scenario, just by 8 inches, I stepped back and looked around. I can see what decision needs to be made. And so I summoned up as much courage as I could as a new guy, because new guys don't make decisions. And I said, hold left, clear right, which was a basic command that we had rehearsed and we would practice. And I expected someone to say, you know, shut up, Jocko. But instead they repeated the command. They all said, hold left, clear right, which means we were gonna execute it. And sure enough, the guys on the left held and the guys on the right cleared. And we got done, and instead of someone saying, hey, you need to keep your mouth shut, like one of the more senior guys said, hey, good job up there, way to make a call. So I looked at it and I said, wait a second, how could I have, as a new guy, have made a decision in that situation that was better than what the more senior, more experienced guys were making? And I realized it was because I took a step back and detached from it. So at that moment I said to myself, okay, from now on, when I get into these tactical scenarios, I'm gonna take a step back and I'm gonna try and look around and I'm gonna try and detach myself from the chaos and the mayhem. And I started doing it all the time. In every tactical situation, in the land, warfare, in the mountains, in the urban environments, I was doing it all the time. And I was able to like see what was happening. It was like a superpower to be able to see what was happening and make decisions. And so then I actually started doing it when I was having conversations. And if you and I were in a disagreement and you started getting emotional, instead of me getting emotional back at you, I would just take a step back and be like, oh, okay, he's really concerned about this. Why is he so concerned? What does he see that I don't see? And I started actually just detaching all the time. And that became a very powerful tool in leadership that I use to this day. My second platoon, our platoon commander, the guy actually in charge of the whole platoon, he's not very experienced. He didn't listen. He didn't take advice. He didn't take guidance. Everything was like his way or the highway. And we had a mutiny inside of our platoon. We went to our commanding officer and said, hey, sir, we don't want to work for our platoon commander. He doesn't listen, he's arrogant. And eventually what ended up happening was this guy got fired as our platoon commander. And that left an impact on me because as I'm watching this going, I'm thinking to myself, why don't we like this guy? Why doesn't anyone want to listen to this guy? Why don't we want to follow this guy? And the reason, because he was arrogant and he didn't listen and he didn't give us any ownership of everything. Everything was about him. And that would have made an impression on me. That would have left a mark, but the mark got left even more clearly because when that guy got fired, the guy that came in and took over for him was like, I hate to use the word legendary, but he was a pretty legendary SEAL, had a ton of experience. He'd come up through the ranks and he had been stationed at every different kind of SEAL team. And he took over as our platoon commander. And I kind of thought to myself, well, he's going to take over because we're a bunch of mutineers and they need to put someone really strong that's going to like whip us back into shape. So I was anticipating that we were going to have this super hardcore guy. And this guy shows up and he's got a nice smile on his face and he's super humble. And I remember one of the first things he said to us was like, I look forward to working with you guys. And I was, that word right there, I'm gonna work with you guys. Not I'm in charge, I'm glad I'm taking over, I'm glad to be your commander. It was nothing like that. He said, hey, I'm looking forward to working with you guys. So all of a sudden it was totally different. And he started putting us in charge of things. Instead of him coming up with a plan, he would say, hey, you guys come up with a plan and let me know how you wanna do it. And all of a sudden we had all this ownership and that made me reflect on the way the first guy had acted compared to the way this guy had acted. And I realized how important it was to be a humble leader and to listen to other people and to give ownership to other people. In the third platoon, it was a good solid platoon and we had a good platoon commander and we were out in the desert doing some training and some targets popped up and we started engaging the targets like we're supposed to and everyone gets in the prone position and is returning fire. And I did what I had been doing this whole time, which was detach. I kind of took a step back, shot a couple rounds, then kind of pulled back and looked to see what was going on. And I saw the call that needed to be made. And I gave the platoon commander a couple seconds to make a call, and he didn't make it. So, I made the call, peel left. And everyone said, okay, peel left. And we peeled left, and we left the scenario, and we got our distance, and then we stopped the training exercise, and we did a little debrief. And during the debrief, the platoon commander, he said to me, well, why did you make that call? And I said, well, I could see what we needed to do, and you hadn't made a call, so I made the call. And he goes, well, I actually didn't want to peel left. I wanted to assault the target. And right there in that split second, I kind of thought to myself, well, like part of my ego flared up and I was kind of thinking, I could have said something along the lines of, well, you need to make a call faster. If you're not going to step up and lead, then I'm going to do it. Like I could have said that. But I realized at that moment in time, wait a second, I didn't need to make a call. The problem could have developed more. But for some reason I thought that I needed to be the guy. And I said, no, you know what? You don't need to be the guy. You're a leader. You need to support your leader. And it's not about you. And what you have to do is subordinate your ego and be supportive of the person that's in charge, and you move forward together as a team. Because that's what it's about. It's not about me, it's about the team. There's a word that people bring up a lot, and I think they're pretty interchangeable, and it's relationships and trust, right? Trust is built on relationships. Relationships are built on trust. If you don't trust me, we don't really have a relationship. If you want to be a good leader, you have to understand human nature. And the places where human nature reveals itself most clearly are times of extreme sorrow, pain, suffering, and inhumanity. And if we don't recognize what causes that, where that comes from, and that it's actually possible, then it's bound to happen again.
A lot of our stories, but either you could dwell on it, or you could take that hopelessness and say, I don't ever want to feel like this again, and let it drive you, and let it be that passion, and let it be that hunger, and let it be that intuition that you get to take advantage of every opportunity that you possibly can. The world is at the palm of your hands. It all depends on what you're doing with it. For me, I try to just lead by example. I think that to be a prime example of how you want people to be in their community, in their culture, and be able to be in society, you have to start where you're from. So I tell people, if you don't know where you're from, you don't know where you're going. And if you don't stand for something, you're gonna fall for anything. I didn't make it through high school. I went to about 25 different schools, lived in a lot of neighborhoods, good, bad, the worst, you name it. In Georgia, I was in a foster home. It was what we had to do. Economically, whether it was an eviction, whether it was, we didn't have lights, food, electricity, money, whatever it may be, but we survived. When I was in first grade, I lived in a neighborhood called North Miami. And in North Miami, I would go to school and the kids would make fun of my nose. They were like, Armando, you got a clown nose, Armando. I started working when I was 5 years old at a flea market on Northwest 7th Street and 37th Ave. And from there, I parked cars at 6 years old. I cleaned bird cages at 7. I sold everything with my mom. My mom sold everything, you name it. So I would knock on doors with her, and I learned what that rejection felt like. But the rejection, again, became gasoline to the fire. And all of that taught me how to appreciate hard work and opportunities. And that's what I learned from growing up. Being there in those situations and just appreciating anything you got your hands on, whether it was a piece of food, a place to stay. Yeah, I was always around some trouble. It came to a point I was doing something outside. My father had told me in Spanish, he said, Armandito, come here. I was taping pistols to the bottom of the car. Since when are you a mechanic? I'm like, oh boy. He said, you keep doing what you want to do. It's your life. But 2 ways this is gonna end up. I'm telling you right now. He said, dead or jail. The lessons from my youth that were very important to my success. Remember, when you're growing up in a certain environment, you can easily become a product of that environment. My environment was, you're either playing sports, you're selling dope, or you're going to prison and dying. It's not really that simple. That's the multiple choice, A, B, C, D, that's it. What I learned from that is I got a chance to see what I didn't want out of life growing up. And I would say thank you to my mom. I love you so much, but more than giving me love, she gave me survival skills. She taught me how no matter what, no problems, just solutions. So we always found a way to make it happen. And living in all these neighborhoods and going through the system, I just feel like the system was built to fail you instead of push you through. But these aren't things it's not to play victim, it's to play victor. This is what makes me victorious. This is what makes me who I am. Because you take all the negatives and you make them a positive. So to me, that's the biggest lessons that I learned growing up, was just watching that hustle, watching that struggle, watching that sacrifice, and feeling that sense of hopelessness that I never wanted to feel. Well, I learned how to deal with it, but I never wanted my kids to feel that. I never wanted the ones that I love to feel that. And I made a decision when I was about 6 years old. So my decision was, you know what I want out of life? I want security, stability, and protection. Because the environment that I was living in, it was just unpredictable. At any given time, anything could happen. Miss Martinez was the one that told me, the biggest risk you take is not taking one. If it wasn't for her, I'd be dead or I'd be in prison. And I always thought about that. And it stays in my mind. So anytime I feel a little iffy about something, I just think about her. Take that risk, man. Take that challenge. It was so special to have somebody really say, hey, all I want from you is when you win an award one day, just mention my name and say thank you, because I believe in you. One of my best friends was Dominican. His name is Junior. And one day we were on our way, we're in the neighborhood. In the neighborhood, they used to fight dogs. It is what it is. It's a part of the culture. And we were on our way to a pit fight. Junior turns to me, he's like, that's your name. Your name's Pitbull. Got a little ring to it, I like that. Pitbull, Pit, yeah. And then as I did my research on pit bulls, they're stereotype dogs, as people feel that they're very aggressive, but they're not. They're a part of their environment. If they're in an aggressive environment, they become aggressive dogs. And I saw a fight in a pit. When it bites, it locks, it doesn't let go. It fights to the death for what it believes in. So you apply that to the game, you apply that to my life, you apply it to everything that we've got going on. That's basically what it's become. And And for life, I feel that it's always a fight. I don't understand the word lose. I don't understand the word can't. I don't understand the word fail. I understand the word learn. When you work so hard to get to a certain level, you Google pit bull right now, I come up before the dog. I always say it's the truth. I'm the only legal pit bull in Dade County because they're all illegal in Dade County. And what I stand for is, I stand for the world. But anywhere I go in the world, I represent 305 Dade County, Miami to the fullest. If it wasn't for the city, I wouldn't be who I am. And that's what this pit fight for. I love the hustle, love the grind, love the fight. Why does it rejuvenate me? Because when you love it, they say when you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. And to me, I love that. I don't like things handed to me. I like to earn it. If you earn your keep, it's fair for you to fight for it. It's about showing up, don't talk about it, be about it. And that's why when you hear me say, take your life from a negative to a positive, what's a story without ups and downs, valleys, peaks, losing? You know, you gotta lose, you gotta slip, you gotta fall. Everybody does. They're not mistakes, they're must-takes. And you don't make mistakes, mistakes make you. So you gotta just take it on. Welcome it. Welcome it. Let it knock you on your ass. You can knock me down, but you won't knock me out. Nobody gets on a roller coaster that just goes straight. And life's a roller coaster, baby. You want it to go up and down and tear and twist and do all of that because that's what makes it worth living. Failure is the mother of all success. If you don't lose, you don't appreciate a win. That's like a boxer that says he's never been hit. Doesn't exist. That's like a ball player that's never missed. Doesn't exist. But if you're able to pivot, always find a way to mutate, modify, then you'll be all right. But how does that happen? You gotta challenge yourself. You gotta take the risk. The biggest risk you take is not taking one. You gotta be able to think out the box and go, even though everybody's going right, I gotta go left with this one, but you're listening to your gut. I've been raised off of a lot of motivation. My mother, when I was younger, she would put Anthony Robbins tapes, in the car. It's just always keeping me motivated and inspired, so I've always looked for positive ways. So I've done the same thing with music. Patience, passion, perseverance equals success, and working hard. In the music game, you gotta give somebody a good product, make sure they like it. So the difference is my product, you don't snort it, you listen to it. And being an entrepreneur is understanding that the word no is a great word. And no, they taught me, and O means new opportunity. I love rapping, I love having a great time and telling a story. But what I like to do is show people growth, maturity, and evolution. So a lot of people tell me, it's like, hey Chico, how come you don't rap for the streets no more? I tell them, it's real simple, dog. I rap to get out the streets, not to stay in the streets. Even if you're in the streets, can you imagine, why would you want to push the same product everybody pushing? Now you got to fight for territory. Now you got to fight for a spot. Now you got to fight for a hole. You got to fight for a trap. Imagine if you come up with your own product. Nobody looking at what you're doing. You got your own hole, your own trap, your own block, your own everything. Now you create your own city, your own world. So if you got good karma, then the law of attraction is going to give you great karma. So I think if you're a good person, good business, and work hard, create that reputation, and the puzzle comes together. And the law of attraction, I believe it exists. I'm constantly writing down my goals because I'm writing records. Good thing is that once a record goes, it's basically like your goal is now out there in the universe and everybody's helping you on that goal. Listen, yes, they're party records, you're having fun, you're enjoying, but there's messages in here. You go from either hearing the record to really listening to the record, and then you start to connect the dots. You gotta envision it, you gotta focus, you gotta believe in it, and you gotta get used to the word no. The word no becomes yes. Simplicity is the key to success. So I'll round up that with this. In the word can't is can, in the word don't is do. In the word won't is one, in the word impossible is possible, and in the word impossible is impossible. Once you figure out you're possible, you can break through any barrier, any border, there's no limits, and you live life how you want to live it instead of life living you. My mother always told me nobody's dumb, nobody's stupid. It's just, you gotta figure out how you learn. It's almost like think of it as a garden. You plant certain seeds. Some grow quicker than others. Some take a little longer. Some need more TLC than others. But living in this society of instant gratification, I want you to understand this. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And more than anything, at a young age, understanding that it's not about the money. My mother always said, money's a passport, allows you to come and go, but it does not make you. You work hard for the money, so the money work hard for you. Money don't make you, you make money. Make a difference, take a risk. That's how you really live out your dream. But if you're worried about what everybody's talking about you, forget about it. Then you're caught up in the noise. I still got a BlackBerry. What does BlackBerry allow me to focus on? Family, business, that's all I need to focus on. I don't care what they say about me or they don't, because you'll never make everybody happy. That's for sure. I never got caught up with the fame. I never got caught up with being in the club every night. I don't even get caught up with social media, and it doesn't allow the noise to come in. When we were growing up, they say, believe none of what you hear and only half of what you see. Now it's believe none of what you hear and none of what you see. So my biggest advice to you guys, don't get caught up with the hype, because everybody now, they try to act like they're living a life that they're not. They try to be somebody that they're not. And I'm telling you, because I deal with it. It's a part of my industry, a part of my business. But it messes with me when it influences people that are trying to create something in their life. So don't get caught up with that. And that's why I would dislike for you guys to lose your life and time just staring at a screen all day, worrying about what other people worrying about. I'm telling you, again, life do like this. Boom, boom, boom. Next thing you know, you're 30 years old and going, what just happened? Bottom line. Focus, envision, set goals, believe, and not selfish, but self first. And what I mean by self first, love yourself first, help yourself first, believe in yourself first. Then you can love others, help others, and others will believe in you. But if you ain't in tune with yourself, believe me, you ain't fooling anybody but yourself. Right now, we're living in a society that they actually believe that perfection exists, which, by the way, it doesn't. And imperfection is what it is to be perfect. And when you have a society that's driven by followers and likes, forget about followers and likes. You should hang around leaders and unique. You gotta love yourself. And then you believe in yourself and you create things out of nothing, you know, from nothing to something. Every record that y'all seen that touched the world, that I've been very blessed, thank God for that, thanks to the fans for that. They told me it was not gonna be a hit. They didn't believe in it. All the execs was like, you're crazy, this is never gonna work. Every one that they thought was gonna be a hit, I threw it out the window because it didn't work. So what do? You gotta listen to your gut. You gotta believe in yourself. You believe in yourself, others believe in you. You help yourself, you can help others. You love yourself, you can love others. It starts with you, not from a selfish standpoint, but from a believing in yourself standpoint. And being willing to fail to be the fun part. That's the fun part. When people are looking at you like you're crazy, that means you're doing something right. If you're worried about your credibility, it's because you were never credible in the first place. Because you're worried about what other people think about you. You got to go for it. And at first, they're not going to see it, because to have vision is to understand everybody else is blind. But when they do, then everybody's on it. There's a slogan that I live by, which is, there's no losing, only learning. No failure, only opportunities, and no problems, only solutions. So when you look at life like that, anything that's put in your way, you look at it like, okay, this happened for a reason, for me to figure out another way to go. And for me, I've never really looked at anything as a low point, because I say it in the record, Time of Our Lives with Neo, every day above ground is a great day. So if you could look at life like that, then you can take it on, be motivated and inspired, and instead of expecting things, you appreciate them. So enjoy the ride, live life, don't let life live you. And you gotta live for the moment. Learn from the past, live for the moment, build for the future. But you gotta live for the moment. That's what living is about. When it gets easy, it becomes boring. And those tough challenges, what you gotta do is you gotta meet them face on, head on. Don't procrastinate. Don't leave something for tomorrow that you could do today. I'm telling you folks, why dream when you can live it?